Hi guys, welcome to my course. I call this the one size fits all recipe. Guys, with this recipe you can make three amazing flavors, which are the cookies and cream, vanilla and strawberry. Okay, with one mix you can split it into as many pans as you want with different flavors. That's different of these three flavors that I'll be showing you in this video. This is a game changer, guys, and make sure you stick on to this video and learn everything I'm going to show you here. Follow your recipes as they have been shown to you, and I promise you'll get the same amazing results. Happy caking! Hi, beautiful people. Welcome to my class. My name is Chef Aine. In today's class, I'll be teaching you three different cake flavors using one cake base. Guys, we're going to be mixing one cake batter and turning that cake batter into three amazing flavors. I know, right? This saves a lot of time and it saves a lot of effort. It also helps you manage your ingredients in case you have maybe small cakes to bake in different, flavors. So we're going to go right into the video, guys. So guys, I'm just going to introduce the ingredients we have on our screen. Here we have flour, and in the flour we have baking powder. Next to it we have our full cream milk. I use the UHT milk, Hollandia brand. Guys, make sure it is the full cream milk that you use. Whatever brand you use, make sure it's full cream milk. I do not use evaporated milk because I find that it's too thick. But if you must use evaporated milk, I would advise you do 1 part water, 1 part milk to give you the required measurement. For instance, if the recipe requires 1 cup of milk, I would advise you use half cup of water and half cup of milk. Okay, then we have our vegetable oil, we have our eggs, and then butter or margarine, and then we have our sugar. So to get started, we want to pour our sugar into our margarine or butter. Now you want to cream this after pouring it for about 5 minutes. It's very important that you cream this for 5 minutes before adding in the eggs. Now you can see that I'm actually scraping down the bowl because a little piece of the sugar was left in the bowl. It's very important that all your ingredients go into your batter because they've already been pre-weighed, right? So you don't want to let even a drop of your ingredients stay behind. Guys, make sure that your ingredients are all in room temperature. Your eggs, your milk, your oil, your margarine or butter, and your sugar. Now you want to mix this on medium-high speed for 5 minutes, and then you start to incorporate the eggs one after the other. Guys, you can start with low speed and then increase the speed as you go, but make sure that you cream your butter and sugar for at least 5 minutes before you start adding the eggs. This helps you to incorporate as much air into your cake batter as possible because this will give you a very fluffy, airy cake at the end of the day. So at this point, it's looking really pale, and that's how you know that your butter and sugar have been creamed well enough. So at this point, we're going to add in our eggs one at a time. So it's very important that you add in your eggs one at a time, and this is so you do not overcrowd your butter and your sugar with so much liquid. Okay, your sugar and butter can only take in so much liquid at a time, so it's important that you add it in one at a time. If for any reason you're doubling your recipe, maybe you're making 2 batches of this recipe, then you can add in 2 eggs at a time, but please make sure that you add in 1 egg at a time for every batch of this recipe. Now after adding in the egg, you're going to cream it in for about 3 minutes, basically until it has almost vanished. You would see that your mixture gets really fluffy and you can no longer see your eggs in your mix. That's when you know it's time to add in the second egg. So guys, make sure you scrape the sides of your bowl while you bake. Whether you're using a hand mixer or a stand mixer, pieces of your ingredients tend to stick around the top of your bowl, so it's important that You scrape them down to make sure that all your ingredients are well incorporated at the same time. So now that we've added all our eggs into the batter, we're going to mix this until it is completely fluffy. You see, at this point you would notice that your batter looks a little separated. You want to mix this until you have a very lush cream-like consistency. That's when you know it's time to add in the other ingredients. Guys, do not rush the process, okay? Take your time. You want to make sure that you mix this properly until you can no longer see those separations in your batter. So at this point, it looks like we're almost where we need to be. As you can see, our batter has increased in the quantity and our sugar granules are almost completely melted. Looks really lush. Yes, guys, this is what we're going for. This looks so delicious. So guys, I like to call our butter and sugar mix our fat mixture, and then our flour and our baking powder mix, I like to call it our dry mixture. This is basically sifted flour already measured and baking powder. We are using salted margarine in this video, so if you are using unsalted butter, please make sure you add a teaspoon of salt to your dry ingredients. It's very important, as salt helps to balance out the sweetness of your cake. Okay, so next we have our milk here, and this milk is categorized here as our wet ingredients. Into our milk, we're going to be pouring in our oil, guys. So you have your oil and your milk as your wet ingredients. Okay, please make sure you pour your oil into your milk. The oil actually helps to give your cake some kind of moisture. I know some people might ask me, oh, why are we using oil when there's already margarine in the cake? Yes, margarine actually does help. Give yourself your margarine actually does help give your cake volume. It also adds a very beautiful flavor that oil alone might not be able to give you. But the oil on its own actually helps you to have a very moist cake. So even if you leave your cake out for a while, you don't have to worry about it drying up, okay? And it also eliminates the need for a simple syrup. I see that a lot of people use simple syrup to add moisture to their cakes, but if you use oil in your recipe just like I'm showing you here, there will really be no need to have to add a simple syrup to your cake after they are baked. Trust me, this is the game changer, guys. Do not skip this step. It's very, very key to this recipe. So next, we're going to be adding in our dry ingredients and our wet ingredients into our fat mixture, alternating the dry and the wet. Guys, we're going to start with our dry and end with our dry. And what I mean is, we're going to start with adding one part of our dry into the fat mixture. We fold it in gently. Then we'll go in with one part of our milk, that is the wet ingredients. Fold it in gently. Add the second part of our dry ingredients. Fold it in gently. And then add the final part of our liquid, fold it in, and finish off with our flour. So you see that we started with our dry and ended with our dry. It's very important, guys. Our fat mixture cannot take in liquid properly. Okay, imagine pouring water into butter. It will not mix properly. So what we do is we prepare the base, which is the fat mixture, for the liquid by starting with the dry ingredients, which is the flour, baking powder, and salt. Okay, so once we've poured one part of that into the fat, and we've mixed it in, then you can start in by pouring in the liquid ingredients, and this would help your mixture to mix in very well. At this point, guys, you also want to drop your mixer. Okay, you want to make sure that you're using a spatula for this process. It's very important because you do not want to overwork your flour. Okay, the flour contains a component called gluten, and when worked and overworked, especially when using a mixer for it, it tends to give a tough result when your cake is baked. Now imagine all that beautiful air you've incorporated into your fat mixture, and then you go ahead to overmix it because you've added flour. Now when your cake is baked, you're not going to have a fluffy cake. It's going to be stiff and tough, and you really don't want to avoid that. So once your flour has gotten into your fat, please switch to using a spatula, and you want to fold in gently. Okay, you don't want to mix rigorously. Just take your time so that your fat absorbs your dry ingredients gently. If you insist on using a mixer, just make sure you use the slowest possible speed of your mixer, and don't use a balloon attachment. Instead, use the flat beater or the K beater, depending on the kind of mixer that you're using. If you're using a hand mixer, I guess it's just one attachment. So use the slowest speed so that you do not end up overworking your flour, guys. It's very important. So at this point, you must have seen that I added 1 part of flour. I went in with 1 part of the liquid, mixing properly in between each additions. Then I'm going to go in next with the second part of our flour. You do not need to divide this into 3 equal portions. You can easily eyeball it, guys. Just add in 1 part, and when you look at what's left, make sure that it's enough to be added twice. Okay, that's to the dry ingredients. And then when you pour in 1 part, that's the first part of your milk, and that's your liquid ingredients. Make sure what's left can be added in at least one more time. Okay, that's all you need to worry about. You don't need to worry about a perfect division of the ingredients at this point. So here, the moment I see that my ingredients are properly incorporated, that's the dry, I'm going to go in with the entire batch of my liquid because it's the last addition. So pour in your liquid. Make sure you scrape your bowl, guys. Remember, your ingredients were initially weighed, so you don't want to leave a single drop of your ingredients behind. Important to note that you do not want to overmix your batter. Okay, it's better to have lumps in your batter than to overmix your batter. So just mix this for a few seconds until your cake is smooth enough. Then you can stop. If you're using a mixer, I usually like to mix on high speed for just 10 seconds. So after you've slowly mixed in and incorporated all the ingredients, then you can increase your mixer speed to, let's say, high speed, and mix it for 10 seconds only, guys. 10 seconds, very, very important. If possible, you can grab your timer and time yourself. Time is of essence. You really do not want to overmix your batter at all. Once you have mixed it for 10 seconds on high speed, switch off your mixer immediately, and then you can bake your cakes. So guys, because we're going to be making 3 variations of this recipe, we're going to be dividing our batter into 3 portions. Okay, 3 portions. You can just grab clean plates, clean bowls that you have around, and divide your batter into 3 portions, because we're going to be flavoring and then modifying each of them to their own unique flavor. So first we're starting with our strawberry variation of this recipe. Guys, this is strawberry jam. We're going to be using strawberry jam, red food coloring or pink food coloring, and strawberry flavor. Feel free to use strawberry puree if you have that available. Just make sure you use the best quality you have. So first thing, you want to pour in your strawberry flavor. Half a teaspoon of this flavor works perfectly well. Make sure that you're using a very good brand of flavoring. Do not use the cheap brands, guys. The better the ingredients you use, the better your cake will be at the end of the day. So next in, we're going to go in with our jam. This is a tablespoon of jam. Okay. At the end of the day, I think I settled for half a tablespoon of jam, but the detailed recipe is in the description, so make sure you check it out as you follow. Although you can tweak the quantity of jam you use based on your preference, this would obviously enhance the flavor, that's the strawberry flavor of your cake. But mind you, you don't want to put too much of strawberry jam into your batter, as this will give you a very soggy cake. You don't want that. So make sure that you keep it between a tablespoon and 2 tablespoons of your strawberry jam. And then I have added in just a little bit of my red food coloring. If you're using a paste, make sure you use a toothpick to just put a little in it. You want to give it this believable pink color. You don't want it looking all, all red. You want it to look light pink. So you need to be careful with the way you add your color into your batter. Mind you, you can always add, but you cannot take away. So start with small quantities and then add as you go. So at this point, your strawberry cake is ready. Look how simple and easy this was. You want to make sure that you mix in the color properly so that you have an even distribution of your pink color. Okay, you don't want some parts looking deeper than the others. So just simply take your time while making sure you do not over mix your batter. We're going to make our Oreo cookies and cream variation. Guys, we're going to be using, of course, Oreo cookies and vanilla flavor. We're also going to use a very important ingredient that I feel takes this cake from 0 to 100, and that is whipped cream. In this video, I'll be using the powdered whipped cream version, and the brand used here is the Vision brand. So if you're in Nigeria, look out for the Vision brand. I find it is the most stable and most tasty brand of whipped cream that I have used so far. And if you're not in Nigeria, feel free to take the best quality whipped cream powder that you can find around you. And if you want to use liquid, make sure that you use the recipe that I've left in the description. So after crushing your Oreo cookies, all you simply want to do is pour it into your batter. Guys, as you can see, mine isn't finely crushed and it isn't too large. I just like mine to be somewhere in between. Okay, I don't really like to have them finely crushed because I find that it changes the color of my cake. It kind of makes it look a little dark, and I like my cookies and cream cake looking bright with just little bits of cookies in the mix. So next I'm going to go in with my whipping cream powder. The measurement is in the description, guys, so just follow as I go. After pouring in my whipping cream powder, I'm just going to mix it in gently with my spatula until it is properly incorporated. Now it's time to add the vanilla flavor. Please make sure you get the best quality vanilla flavor that you can find. The better the flavor you use, the better your cake will taste. So look how easy that was. We have our three flavors from simply mixing one cake batter. So guys, don't forget to add vanilla flavor into the vanilla variation of this cake. So next thing you want to do is to pour your cake batter into your already prepared pan. I have lined my pans with parchment paper. I have a free video on my YouTube channel on how you can learn to line your baking pans with parchment paper very easily. So please do well to check it out. It will be very helpful here. So guys, I also have included in the description of this video the quantity of batter that you can use or you can put in each pan depending on the size. So I usually use 500 grams for every 6 inches pan that I bake. Okay, I find that baking in flatter layers help to give a better result. So if you want to get the best result from your cake recipes, make sure you bake in small layers. So that works for me. Fill your pans up with your cake batter. You want to bake in a 180 degrees Celsius oven for an hour. You can read the temperature. If it's above 180, you reduce the temperature until you have achieved that required temperature. So always remember to preheat your oven 10 minutes before your cakes go in there. It's very important because you want to make sure that your cakes start baking the moment they are popped in the oven. So preheat your oven for 10 minutes prior to when they need to go into the oven. So guys, it's very important that you do not open your oven before your cakes are ready, or at least until your cake is set. So if you just put your cake in the oven, please don't open your oven until at least 40 minutes into the bake time. If you open your oven prematurely, your cakes will fall and you would not get a good result. All this hard work would have been a waste. So it's very, very important that once your cake are placed in the oven, make sure that your oven remains shut until 40 minutes into the bake time. Then you can check to see what the cake looks like. If it's ready, then you can bring it out. Make sure you bake in small layers. Make sure you don't open your oven before it is baked, or at least 40 minutes into the bake time.